All right, welcome to the Bulldog Beat Podcast. I'm Joe Britton, and beside me is Tucker Berry. We're here with the men's lacrosse coach, Kevin Parker, and two of his seniors, Jackson Wallace and Robert Holkamp. So, gentlemen, it's great to have you on the podcast today. So, Coach, you've been here a coach at Westland for quite a while. What season are you exactly going into here?
I am going into my 14th season, I think.
14th season.
Yeah, well, I try to do the math sometimes, but it gets 2009 was my first year, and then 2010 was my first season.
So you've seen a lot of ups and downs here at school.
Oh, definitely.
So you have an extended career as a coach, 25 years going all around the world pursuing lacrosse. Once you ended your career as a player at Mount St. Mary's, did you want to start coaching? Did you start coaching right away, or did you want to step back and start coaching later?
Well, there's a couple answers to that. One is right after playing a sport for as long as I did. Right after I graduated and finished playing, I was like, you know what, I'm going to take a couple weeks off and not do any kind of workouts. And then a couple years later, after I had taken my 2 weeks off and I put on about 25 pounds, I was like, I got to start getting back into it. And so it was a couple years, and then I started playing again, playing with the club team. And then somebody I was playing with was coaching at my high school, and he said, hey, do you want to come out and help coach? And I was like, yeah, sure. I thought it was going to be awesome. So it wasn't anything that I kind of looked that hey, that's the direction I was going to go. I was a business major, and so I was just like, hey, this would be something just fun to do and stay in the sport. It's kind of how I was looking at it to start at least.
So did you do like some international coaching or just around the United States? How did that go?
So originally, I was just coaching at my high school. And that was my favorite 3 months of the year. That was the only time I was in a really good mood, when I was at practice. Maybe it's because I got to take all my frustration out on the goalies and shoot on them as hard as I possibly could. But a buddy of mine called up and said, hey, do you want to move to Germany and coach lacrosse? And I was just like, are you kidding? Because he moved over there. He's like, yeah, come on over. I had just bought a house like a year before, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it. He's like, well, I'll give you a weekend to think about it. I was like, oh, gee, appreciate that. And then Monday came around, I was like, I can't do it. And he said, all right, I got to give it to somebody else. Well, it turns out 2 months later that somebody else I gave it to had left, and he called me back up, and I was like, I'm going to jump on it this time, right? I can't remember how old I was at that point in time. I was like 32 years old. And I was like, I can come back and get a sales job doing what I'm doing just like this, but not too many chances to go, live in another country.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty cool.
So how many years were you in Germany?
I was in Germany for 3 years. I lived in Hamburg, Germany, which is like North Germany. And it's pretty cold up there. But they originally started playing lacrosse from the movie American Pie, right? It was
that's crazy.
They were like, "What's this movie?" And a couple of good stories about them back then was when they first started playing it, they didn't know how to do it. Right, and they were doing it completely wrong, but they played in their town, like they had a big park like in the middle of the town, and they didn't have any place to keep any of the equipment, so they would hang their goal in a tree. Right, one of them would climb up there with a rope and tie it all the way, pull it all the way up, and then so nobody took it or sold it. So somebody always had to climb a tree at the beginning of their first practices.
Cool. For Robert and Jackson, so obviously pregame rituals are really popular in sports. Everybody has their own thing. So would both of y'all like to tell us what some of y'all's pregame rituals are looking like?
Yeah, for the past 2 years at least, can't really remember if I had like a good freshman ritual. I think I just showed up, keep it calm, cool, collective. I really don't try to put a lot of pressure on myself. But the past 2 years, it's been pretty successful. I go to Bojangles, get a sausage biscuit, some fries, honey mustard, and a water.
And he's never invited me.
Maybe this year. All right. Maybe one time. But
I don't need it out, neither do my son. So
yeah, I might keep it on, but we'll see how it goes.
Robert?
Sort of about the same as Jackson's, a little bit different. Freshman year, I used to freak out a lot before games, so I had to find something just to calm myself down. But here recently, I mean, I've gone to McDonald's, gone chicken biscuit, coffee sometimes if I'm feeling extra tired. But my biggest one is, it's a little on the stranger side, but I turn off all the lights in my room and I lay down and I just start blasting Sold Out by Hardy
That's a good
until it's
Great
ready,
choice.
until I'm ready to go. And then when I get to the field, I warm up my hands, make sure I'm stretched well. And then after that, I fall asleep in my locker just to keep
cool.
myself calm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally understandable. So both of y'all are reaching into your senior year. You both have impressive stats. Both of y'all being 100-point, being at the 100-point mark. With that being such a good achievement, how cool was that during the moment for y'all to get to experience that?
I mean, it was pretty awesome. Me and Rob both knew what was coming around. I mean, it was a great feeling. Honestly, you know, there's two different stat sheets. You got like Presto Sports, and then you got the stats for the school. So I really don't know which one was my 100th point. Online it says that it was against Reinhardt, which it was an awesome goal. You know, I'll never forget it if that was the one. But I was playing defense, we got the ball. Our buddy Wes, he tossed it to me. I had a fast break. We dished it off, and my buddy Jalen on the attack, he got the ball and dished it off to me, and I just stung it lefty on Reinhardt, which is, at that time, was the 5-time defending champ, so it felt pretty good. Start the game off like that. I think we tied it up 2-2. Yeah, it was an unreal feeling.
So it was kind of like a fast break, NBA alley-oop
Yeah,
type thing.
pretty much,
I got
yeah.
you.
It's awesome.
Cool.
I mean, my moment was a little different. Mine came off an assist, but it was definitely like one of those surreal moments. Like growing up playing the game, you're kind of just like never really think that you're going to make it to the college level. And so just like being able to hit that 100-point mark is kind of like one of those big landmarks that's just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just exciting.
Absolutely.
But I guess now it's 200 mark, so.
Yeah, reaching for
Yep.
another 100 this season. So last season for both y'all, you've seen a lot of ups and downs. Going into your senior season, do you both have certain goals you want to achieve this season, such as going to nationals, stuff like that?
Rob.
Shoot. I mean, absolutely. That's always the end goal. I mean, especially with playing a sport like this, it's so competitive that like, going to nationals is just one of those, that's what we play for the most part. And yeah, we play to have fun. We play to be there with our brothers, but it's always like that end goal is going to nationals. So.
Yep, absolutely.
For me, I mean, if I had to choose top 3 goals, it'd be for us to, you know, just have a blast with each other on the field, off the field, just hang out and have a good time, make memories. For my second, I'd probably say I want to go undefeated at home, and I definitely want to win the AAC this year. If we win the AAC, I mean, our conference is so competitive. I mean, past 3 years, we've had 4 teams in our conference go to nationals, and there's only 8 teams in nationals. So, I mean, it's pretty competitive, and to get there is really hard, but I believe we can do it this year, and that's definitely one of my top goals.
So are y'all ranked middle pack, bottom pack, or sort of the top pack this season for the conference rankings?
You know,
Or have they came out yet?
they haven't came out yet, but I would say based off last year, we'd probably be on, I'd say 5th or 6th place. Probably 5th.
Yeah,
It's like more of that middle pack.
yeah.
Gotcha.
It's a tough conference. I mean, with number 1 team in the country, number 3 team in the country, 4 team in the country. I think we had 4 in the top 5 last year. We had 4 in the top 7 the year before, or 5 in the top 7 the year before. So, I mean, if you want NAI lacrosse, it's the AAC. This is the way to go.
Gotcha. So, Coach, we already talked about how you were able to go coach in Germany. Can you delve into a little bit more how the environment was there for lacrosse compared to the States? Were there certain players that were better over there than the States, or how did that go about?
Man, it's so different in a lot of ways because they don't do like school sports like we do here, right? They do clubs, right? So if you want to play a club, or a sport, you join a club. And the club we were part of when I got there was the HTHC, the HTHC, which is the Harvest Student Hockey and Tennis Club. So it was field hockey and tennis club, and struggling with money. So to add more people, they brought in lacrosse, and lacrosse brought in a whole bunch of people. So just from that side of it, the more serious they are, they'll go to a school that has that sport and kind of go from there. So they do it a little bit different than we do. That being said, probably the biggest difference is it's club and it's not in like a college. I had players who were 16 years old, and I had a couple who were in their 40s.
Oh, wow.
Right, yeah, so it was more like a club style, where, hey, you just showed up, pay your dues, and, you're on the team kind of deal. But it was pretty cool, and got to get a good mix of some good athletes, some that, were not very good athletes, but just wanted to play a sport, be part of something, bigger. It was a pretty cool experience, just across the board, kind of being able to see that. And then you have guys, like you said, come out in their mid-30s, first time ever playing. Then I try to, usually when I coach lacrosse, I try to, give examples like in other sports, like, hey, did you play basketball? Because defense is like playing basketball. And then the kid would just shake his head. Well, okay, what did you play? Tennis. I'm like, well, I don't really know how to put tennis and lacrosse together, so this isn't going to work.
Yeah. So the majority of never even had anything to do with lacrosse?
None of them had really. In Hamburg, and it's pretty big in Germany. I think there's 28 teams in Germany. So it's pretty big, and they'll have some Americans that come over. Like Frankfurt will get some Americans that either played at Army. So they had some good players in the league that they play against.
So has it grown a lot since you were in Germany?
Yeah, just across the world. I mean, and then I don't know all the numbers and all that kind of stuff, but we've got a ton more international teams. Most of it's Americans with heritage that they'll start up. At the World Games this past year, of course, U.S. and Canada are the big two. But Japan has come a long way. The Haudenosaunee, Six Nations, they compete in it and crush in it. I mean, they've been playing. It's their game, right? It's the creators' game.
Yeah.
They've always it's a pretty special place for them as far as that. But I mean, we've got teams in Africa now. All over the world. It's awesome. Trying to get into the Olympics too. So we're
absolutely
one step away from, I think, the Olympics right now.
Wow, that'll be exciting.
You had an opportunity to take a team to the World Cup, but you decided to come back to the States. Can you tell us a little bit about that and just what made you want to come back?
So when I was in Germany, I was coaching the Danish national team. So living in Hamburg, Denmark is about 3 hours north. So I would drive up there usually once a month and run camps for them. And I played in the European Championships, so they do a European Championship every 4 years, and then the World Cup. So I did get to coach them in the 2010 World Cup. And then for 2014, I think it was in Denver, but the Danes didn't go. So that would have been my last time actually doing it. So that's kind of when I stepped away from it. And then COVID hit, and that kind of messed everything up as well. But just being part of that international side of things, it was awesome, right? Just the different way they do things. So since I've been here, I've taken the team over to Europe 3 times during the summer. We've gone to England once, and we've gone to Denmark twice, right? Just kind of getting to show these guys, right? Yeah, the game's great, but look at all these people you can kind of meet, and have my guys, make friends on Snapchat, and they'll snap their the English guys that they met while they were in Denmark, or there was a Japanese guy who was there too, and I think a couple of my players might have had some lady friends that they met while they were over there, that kind of stuff. So it was a pretty cool experience for everybody. The first time we went, I had a kid from Cleveland who had never been on an airplane before. Oh wow! And it was, hey, let's go fly across the pond. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you seeing many other countries produce the same level of lacrosse players as the States does?
Not to the numbers wise. So
Yeah.
outside of Canada, right? Canada, and everybody would, if you asked most people and say, hey, what's the national sport of Canada? What do you think they'd say?
Hockey, probably.
Hockey,
yeah,
but it's
for
not.
sure.
It's actually lacrosse. Lacrosse is Canadians' national sport, and just because of the native roots up there. And it's what they do, during the off season when all the rinks are, aren't frozen anymore. They'll play lacrosse. Gretzky played lacrosse. Adam Oates. I don't know how big hockey guys you are, but there's a lot of hockey guys that they played a lot of lacrosse kind of growing up. But it's we've had on the team a couple guys for international players. England has some good players. Like I said, Japan has some good players, but it's just not the numbers wise, right? And it's just, it'll get there eventually, but it's going to take a little while. But they have some good players. There's a couple of guys from Germany that played D1, played at a real high level. So it's been fun to see the growth.
So going along with that, with the growth of lacrosse, for individuals who don't know much about lacrosse like myself, how do you think we should be able to change the lacrosse environment across NAIA? Because along with myself, and I know a bunch of other people on campus, such as my golf teammates, we've never been able to watch a single lacrosse game or even seen it on TV before.
So, the growth-wise, it's a lot more. I mean, when I was growing up, even living in Maryland where lacrosse is big, there was you couldn't watch it anywhere, right? Baltimore would have one game of the week that, would be a big college game. But nowadays with YouTube and all that kind of, you can get on there and watch all kinds of games. And it's kind of cool just you can look anything up on YouTube and be able to watch something. But as far as for here, when I first got here, met these three old guys that used to come to all of our games. And they'd be like, Coach, we have no idea what's going on, but we just love to come and watch and support the Bulldogs.
Absolutely.
And I would say this for all the Bulldogs, right? Is just supporting any of the teams, right? Even if you don't know what's going on, right? There's some big hits and some cool goals and all that kind of stuff. It'll get you kind of going. But I remember it was 2 or 3 years ago we went to a tennis match, right? And how many people go to tennis matches, right? But you guys, I thought they had a blast doing it. We didn't know if we were allowed to cheer or not. It's pretty, I'd say posh, right? But it's I think for anybody, just come out and watch and kind of see.
Mm-hmm.
So you three have been here a while, so y'all definitely got to see a lot of ups and downs with the program, especially you, Coach. But in 2022, y'all were able to make it to nationals and have such an outstanding season. With practices starting back up, what characteristics do you think this team has or could build up to potentially have a similar season as 2022?
I'd probably say our biggest characteristic right now is just drive. I mean, I haven't been to a practice yet where we've had slackers, like people sitting down or like giving up. Like everyone's giving it their 110% all. I mean, just this morning, we had a 6 a.m. and we were getting after it. Like there's guys starting to start to get into like a little bit of a tussle, but we broke them up and got them back together, and they started playing even harder. So it's very just competitive every practice. So
yeah, it's exciting. I think one characteristic that is going to differentiate, excuse me, I don't know how to say the word, but I think us being as close as we are this year, we made it a big point before we even started practice to get all the guys together as much as we could. Whether it's, we're going out there to shoot around, hang out, and just have some fun, or if it's, off campus, just hanging out with the boys, just doing fun things, going to a river, going to rodeos, going to concerts, just anything to
Micro wrestling,
yeah. Just stuff that will get the team closer and bond, because at the end of the day, that's what is gonna really matter. We gotta know each other to really, fully know each other on the field.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to kind of beat into them that sending a text message out in the group chat of, hey, I'm going out to shoot, you need to come. right? And freshmen being like, oh, okay, I'll go do that, as opposed to, I don't know, I'll just stay here. So I tell them all the time, go bang on doors, right? That's the best way to get them, because they can't. It's harder to say no face to face as it is, over a text message. I can just pretend I didn't see the text message, or But if you're banging on my door and I'm just sitting here on my couch eating Cheetos, then maybe I should probably get up and go, work out. But I don't think we have that many guys that don't want to work out. I mean, it's a pretty good group we got right now. Last semester was our highest ever team GPA. And I expect that number to go up. So I expect us to have another good year. I mean, if we can hit 3.5, I think that'd be a good goal for us team-wise. But the guys, I mean, they love hanging out. I don't think we have too many egos on the team either that are like, get super worried about whether it's playing time or goals or whatever. I think we got a pretty good group that's just, hey, whatever it takes to win.
Have you had a couple teams in the past where you've had to really dig deep and try to get them as much as you can to get to know each other if they were struggling or something throughout the season?
Yeah, some of it is getting them to realize like other people got stuff going on too, right? It's real easy to get mad at your teammate when you don't know what's going on in their personal life.
Absolutely.
You don't know what's going on at home. Don't know, whether it's money issues or girlfriend issues or, just, hey, am I at home here? And so getting to know them, right? So you can have some empathy towards them, what's going through, because, somebody shows up at, practice and they're upset and mad and, cussing or, just beating on other teammates. Like, well, what's going on with that guy right now? That's not how he normally is. But if they know him, then they can be like, oh, somebody kicked his cat, so he's pretty upset. Whatever it is, I think it's a pretty good group, and most of them are holding themselves accountable, which is the other side of it. When they mess up, they're like, yeah, that was me, and just move on and go.
Mm-hmm. With the new freshmen on the team, how are you kind of filling the spots that you've lost last year? How's it compared to prior classes and all that?
Yeah, we pretty much only lost really bad on one position, which was face-off. And that's going to be a struggle for us all year, I think. But we've got a couple young guys, I think, that can help out. And we've got Swiss Army Knife Jackson over here that can kind of help out as well. But it's one of those, I think we added a lot more than we lost outside of that one position. And even though our numbers are a little bit lower than last year, we don't have anybody that slows us down. It's upbeat, it's fast, it's quick, and we're way ahead right now than we were going into even the season, midway through the season last year, I think. So I think it's going to be a good year.
I don't know about you. I want to get a little bit more in depth of the nickname that we just heard on the podcast. Can you give us a little bit more information?
Well, Swiss Army Knife, Coach gave me that name, of course. But, since I've been here, freshman year, I started off as midfield, which, growing up, that was my main position. I played midfield and I played face-off, which face-off is, if you don't know, that's how you start every game, after every goal, halftime. You get down right in the middle and it's a fight. The ball's starting on the ground every play. So everybody has a fair shot to get it. Mm-hmm. Went from midfield, face off a little bit, to attackman my sophomore year whenever we went to nationals. I really enjoyed playing attack. Coach doesn't always agree with it, but it's all right.
Hey, you're such a good midfielder.
I am a good midfielder, I'd say. I enjoy playing the game in general. I don't care where I'm at.
As long as he's on the field.
Yeah. If I'm on the field, I'm having a good time out there. Whether I'm playing defense, getting scrappy, if I'm facing off and dusting some kid, taking it home. But
He got another nickname that my kids gave you.
Yeah, it's called AT, also known as Ankle Taker, I believe, right?
Yeah, my kids don't come to a ton of games, but the one they did, he definitely took some kids' ankles, and my then I think 8-year-old was like, number 7, he took that kid's ankles.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel for my role, I mean, wherever I can be, here for the team, that's why I guess the Swiss Army knife is a good nickname for me, I guess.
Yeah, he kind of does everything, except for play goalie. But if I asked him, he probably would.
I would definitely hop and go.
No doubt.
I'd take a
Thankfully,
shot.
we don't need him to hop and goal because that could probably be bad.
Yeah.
No,
I like
we need
scoring
him other
goals too
places.
much.
Yeah, we need him other places.
So in college lacrosse, is there a lot of fights, or is that settled down throughout games, or when tensions rise, do players just lose their cool?
Yeah,
It definitely gets
Simpler.
scrappy.
yeah, some do, but
There's no fights, right? Just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's
It's too much risk.
yeah, you know,
Not
it's-
a big reward for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
get suspended a few games. Have I seen some fights? Yes, without a doubt, we definitely have. But those are the players you kind of usually know who they are. You gotta watch out for them, like Robert. You can just tell how fired
yeah,
he
I
gets
get bad
now.
sometimes.
More so probably in practice than during games. For the most part during games, you just kind of almost laugh it off because it's kind of dumb usually. But I mean, getting beat with a stick, it can definitely, get under people's skin a little bit, right? And
Easily. I mean, you get hit right here or
Oh, yeah.
on top of the shoulder a time or two. I mean, you definitely want to fight, but I mean, you fight with your stick.
Most of the time, it doesn't
Score a
hurt
goal.
too bad too if you put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Then you usually don't feel it.
I mean, it's adrenaline rush when you're in the game
Yeah.
anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't feel it until after.
Definitely
Y'all-
more just trash talk.
Do y'all wear a bunch of equipment? I know the helmets are pretty heavy, aren't they?
I
For the
mean,
most part, I mean,
They're not quite as heavy as football helmets.
yeah.
A little bit lighter than that. And arm pads, right? So your elbows don't get beat up. Shoulder pads, and they got new chest protectors to protect the heart. There's been a couple incidents of the heart stopping when it gets hit at the wrong time.
yeah.
So they've got some stuff for that, but it's of course cups. You got to make sure that you got those on if you want to make sure you can have kids later on.
Very
Shoulder friendly. Sorry. No, but and the more offensive players wear more pads because they get beat up a little bit more. So it's usually pretty geared up.
I would say. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it really don't matter. You have one of those aluminum carbon fiber poles. I mean, Robert has a little wound on his elbow. I mean, sometimes it don't matter if they get you on the right spot, but I mean, it definitely helps because if you're getting whacked, I mean, it's not too fun, but I'd say enough to keep us protected for sure.
Some of the different versions of the game too. More in Canada, they play the indoor version, and the indoor version's a lot more physical, and you'll see fights in that. Those Canadians, they get after it.
It's basically hockey on feet.
Yep.
I mean, same goal size. They wear rib protectors. I mean, they can do moving picks and literally,
cross
try to
check.
break your ribs.
Yeah, just destroy somebody.
Yeah.
So hockey, obviously, if you just walk up and destroy somebody, you got to serve like penalty time. Is that a thing in lacrosse? If you just hit somebody really hard or something?
Oh, absolutely.
There
Yeah,
is.
so some of like the main places you can't hit, of course, is like the back, the head.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can't spread your hands apart when you go to hit someone. You got to keep them just close. For the most part, you just kind of drive into the hips and then drive up, basically like underneath their armpits. And that's where a lot of the hits come from. But of course, there's always those stragglers that want to get that big hit. So, but when that happens, they have to serve the penalties. So.
Yeah, we got man up, man down, just like hockey.
Yeah.
And it's you got two different fouls. You got the technical fouls, which is 30 seconds, and then personal fouls, which minute up to a man getting kicked out for 5 minutes in penalties. But they've really kind of try to come down on hits on the head, especially with everything concussion wise nowadays. And so anything up in that area, right? It's gonna be full time, locked in, and sometimes 2 or 3 minutes, which in our game can be a lot of goals.
Yeah, you're down one player. I mean, it's a good chance. I mean, lacrosse is a scoring game. I mean, you can get up the field. If you have an extra man, you're really supposed to score. Like in any sport, if you have an extra person on your side, you have a good chance.
So I know for my sake, my high school didn't have lacrosse. Not many high schools around where I'm from didn't have lacrosse. So do most colleges around here have lacrosse accessible for people who are wanting to pursue it?
So in Tennessee, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 4 men's varsity teams. And then there's some club teams. UTC has a club team. Knoxville, UTK has a club team. MTSU has a club team. But there's not a ton of them here either. But on the high school side of it, it's mostly the big cities. So Chattanooga, it's big. Knoxville, Nashville, Memphis, right? That's the big areas.
Yeah.
But it's getting sanctioned in high school next year, so that should help it grow, which would be awesome for me.
Seems like you're seeing more of it in private schools than you are public, at least here anyways. You don't see many public school having a lacrosse program.
Yeah, some of that's just because how long they've had it. Trying to think, now there's a lot more public schools that do, especially out Nashville area and Memphis have a lot more of the public schools that have it. But we're starting to see it on this side too. We got it all the way up in Kingsport now. Science Hill up there, West up in Knoxville has it. So there's a lot of Hardin Valley, Farragut. Some of the bigger Knoxville schools have it now. Like I said, once it gets sanctioned, some of it just, hey, if I were to give you a stick and say go beat somebody with it, most boys, especially from that 12 to 18 range, would be like, all right, sweet, let's go. Yeah. Right? So it's just getting somebody to start it up is usually all it takes to kind of get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. So Robert and Jackson, your 100-point mark, for people who don't know lacrosse, that 100 points, does that mean you have 100 goals, or how exactly is that broken up to reach that point?
It's really goals and assists. So per game, if you look at a stat sheet, it says goals, assists, and then points. So goals and assists combined is your points average. So I mean, I've had a lot more goals and assists in my career just because, I've definitely given a lot of people an assist because I'm more of like a catch and finish guy. Yeah. As soon as I get the ball, I want to rip it. But I mean, just goals and assists combined as a points average.
Are you in the same boat as him? Same position-wise?
Yeah, for the most part, I'm more of like the attacker. So I think if you want to like compare it to a sport, think of it more of like a striker in soccer. So it's like more of like the goal scorer type of guy. So definitely have more goals and assists, but gonna try to work on that.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that a little bit.
Gotta work on that. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Share the ball a little bit more.
Yep.
Well, Jim, that's all we have for you. We appreciate your time coming on the podcast today.
Yeah,
good luck this season.
Appreciate it.
You will.
You guys got to come out to a game.
For real.
Yeah, we'll try to make it out.
Yeah. Now let's come sit down on the sidelines, right? And then you can hear me yell all this stuff I yell, and not know what's going on.
Maybe
do y'all play on the soccer field?
Yep.
That's where it's at, right?
Yeah. Once spring rolls around, we'll be up there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.